Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. The whole concept of the show is to bring approachable information about our community, about our Commonwealth, about our country, our world to you through this device. We do it from a cautious optimist perspective. A man that owns a handful of businesses, that prides himself in championing and supporting the small business community and doing what's right for folks. It's the golden rule mentality, guys, here on the I Love CVille show. A lot we have to get to. We'll hear from Jim Ryan today as the University of Virginia rolls out enhanced COVID-19 restrictions. CVille City Hall is also extending their COVID restrictions. Fry Spring Station, Ivy Provisions, and Shadwell's Restaurant. 3 restaurants. In fact, this restaurant group also has Augusta Kitchen, but 3 in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. They are reopening soon. That's good news for all of us in this community as we get 3 more restaurants that we can enjoy and support. We have news from the governor's office as he's rolling out a refinancing plan to help colleges across the Commonwealth manage what is a difficult year for so many, certainly for higher education. Madison University will reopen for in-person classes on October 5th. Remember, JMU closed the first week of September, I believe it was the 7th of September, due to a massive outbreak in Harrisonburg. So good news about JMU reopening. We'll chat with Aaron Ludwig and Rick White. Aaron Ludwig is the co-founder of Jack Brown's. This place is fantastic. I love their burgers. I love their fries. I love their beer selection. I personally am a notcher at the Jack Brown's on the downtown mall. Aaron has, I think it's 14 Jack Browns under his belt and a handful of Billy Jacks. So we'll talk from a macro perspective with the co-founder for the business, how his brands are managing COVID-19, and then we'll go micro with Rick White, who's a champion of Jack Brown's, literally bleeds and breathes and lives Jack Brown's, the notcher boss at the downtown location. We'll talk a COVID vaccine. Johnson & Johnson is in phase 3 and is now administering this vaccine to a group of trial people. Fauci, guys, has said this is absolutely heroic what Johnson & Johnson is doing from a time frame standpoint. How about Carvana? We've been preaching Carvana on this network. It popped over 30% yesterday, making a lot of people a lot of money. We'll get into that pop, and we'll also recommend some other positions we're putting our money into. I do have to emphasize now, according to my attorney, I'm not a licensed professional. I'm just telling you what I'm doing with my money. Duke and University of Virginia, the Wahoos, a 5-point favorite. That game's set to kick off Saturday at 4 o'clock on the ACC network. I love Bronco Mendenhall. I love what he stands for. I love his God-fearing mentality, and I love the fact that this guy and this football team have managed 0 COVID cases, count them, 0 COVID cases, since UVA football has returned to grounds in Charlottesville. That is a testament to the coach, his staff, and the fact that the players respect the coach and the staff so much. Virginia Tech and NC State play Saturday at 8 o'clock on the ACC network. The Hokies, number 20 in the country, a 7-point favorite. Wake Forest and Notre Dame, we have a rescheduled for December 12th on that game. As you can see, we are loaded with information on today's show, including Tony Bennett's men's basketball team potentially playing in a bubble in Orlando, Florida. Thank you kindly for joining us. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a phenomenal business in this community. 4 generations of family behind Interstate Pest and Service Companies. They do business the honest and right way. Interstate Pest and Service Companies. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. We work hand in hand together along with the rest of our team. 8 years and counting for my brother from another mother. I say that. I call it a love-hate relationship. I love him. Sometimes he hates me. But regardless, we work well together from a personality standpoint. J-Dubs, nothing but love for you, homie. I want to get the sound ready to go from Jim Ryan. Guys, tell your friends to watch the show now. Text them. Tag them in the feed. Share it to their page. Jim Ryan, University of Virginia president, in a very tough time for this guy. Can you imagine being a president of any school, certainly a president of arguably the most prestigious, and that's not arguably, I can straight up say it, the most prestigious public university in the Commonwealth is UVA. What is it, 4 in the country from a public school standpoint? You got UC Berkeley, you got UCLA, you got Michigan and Ann Arbor, and then us, UVA. I bleed orange and blue. I went there. Can you imagine being the president of this school right now, the stress? And I think when we show you Jim Ryan here, you'll see a little wear and tear on the man's body. It's very synonymous to someone getting in the White House and being president, year 1 versus year 4. It's just the stress and the wear and tear. Can you imagine being Lloyd Snook, Sina McGill, Michael Payne, Charlottesville City councilors, first year on the job? You had all these dreams of affordable housing and making an impact in this community, and then you get dropped this COVID-19 bag of poo on your lap, and then you have to respond and react to that, as opposed to all the items that you have on your platform that you were running for. A lot of our leadership's legacy, whether at the University of Virginia, Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, Charlottesville City Council, their legacy in this community very much going to be determined by how they manage and handle COVID-19, and that's fact statement there, guys. Judah Wickhauer, I want to get Jim Ryan here coming up. Do you have that ready to go for us, sir? I'll count you in on a 3, 2, 1 when we're ready here. This is roughly 6 minutes from Jim Ryan. We're going to play 2 minutes. The 2 minutes are the meat and potatoes of the 6 minutes. A lot of the 6 minutes was pomp and circumstance. The 2 minutes we're going to play for you is the meat and potatoes. Watch Jim Ryan from a body language standpoint. Watch Jim Ryan from a wear and tear physical standpoint. This guy is going through the ringer. I respect this gentleman, and I certainly would not want to be in his shoes. Judah Wickhauer in 3, 2, 1.
But as we've said from the very beginning, staying one step ahead of this virus will not be easy. Instead, it will require everyone doing their part, not just some of the time or even most of the time, but all the time. Recently, it's become clear just how difficult and important that can be. Over the last few days, we've become more concerned about the spread of COVID-19 within the UVA community. Some of this has been driven by a rise in the number of positive cases in our community, but we've also gotten reports of a few large student gatherings, both on and off grounds, as well as reports about inconsistent adherence to masking and distancing guidelines. This has caused concern among our public health experts who worry that we may be headed in the wrong direction, and that if we don't get back on track quickly, we could end up in a situation where we have to severely restrict where students can go or risk running short on isolation and quarantine space. That's not a situation any of us wants to be in, which is why we're putting into place 3 new restrictions that will apply to students on and off grounds for at least the next 2 weeks. First, gatherings will now be limited to 5 people, down from a previous limit of 15. Students will still be able to gather outside safely, including on the lawn, but will have to do it in groups of 5 or fewer. If this new limit is not respected, we may have to consider additional restrictions, including curfews. Second, all students will be required to wear masks at all times unless you're at home in your room eating or exercising outdoors or in accordance with the guidelines at one of our on-grounds IM rec facilities. And even when you are exercising, you should always keep a mask on hand in case you run into another person. Finally, we're going to ramp up enforcement of our travel and visitor policies for students, which should be simple to understand and follow. Please do not leave Charlottesville over the next 2 weeks, and do not invite visitors to come to town. This is to protect people outside this community, as well as to prevent more of the virus being brought back to grounds. Importantly, these masking and gathering guidelines will apply to faculty and staff on grounds as well, with the traditional exception that if you're alone in your office, you do not need to wear a mask. These new guidelines will officially go into effect tomorrow, Wednesday, September 23rd at 9 a.m.
Roughly 2-minute clip from a 6-minute clip in totality. I appreciate and respect the approachable nature that is Jim Ryan. Let's consider it first from an optics standpoint. Remember, my primary business is as an advertising agency. We have the most market share in Central Virginia as an advertising agency. I mean, frankly, from a 60-mile radius of Charlottesville, we're the best at what we do. I'm just going to cut to the chase there. Let's analyze the optics. As someone who owns an advertising agency, we're in the business of managing perception. Did you notice how he rolled his sleeves up? You saw a lot of that from Barack Obama on his campaign. The rolled up of the sleeves and the unbuttoning of the collar and the tie a little bit lower makes you really feel approachable and seem approachable. Did you notice the sports jacket in the corner of the office? Okay? I wouldn't think a lot of presidents, and I respect this of Jim Ryan, would have the sleeves rolled up, the tie a little unbuttoned, the sports jacket in the corner of the office. I loved how he was perched on the desk, right? Perched on the desk for extra approachability. That's called managing perception. That's called optics. Whether we realize that or not, that perception seeps into our subconscious and helps us make a determination on what we're hearing or listening. It's optics management. That's what we do very well. Let's further dissect the message and further dissect the body language first. His body language to me certainly gave the energy of being somewhat dejected, a little downtrodden. The energy a little demoralized. And I think that's safe to say, and I think the president would say, I am feeling that, right? Now let's talk about the greater enhancements, okay? Groups of 5 people or less. Do we all realize how difficult that's going to be for 18 to 22-year-olds that are social butterflies to stay in groups of 5 people or less? I mean, when you're 18 to 22, the hormones in your body are going wild. I would say in a lot of ways, the peak testosterone for me was my 18 to 22-year-old period where I say it all the time. All I was interested in college was beautiful girls, cold beer, and parties. So being in a group of 5 people or less is going to be very difficult for guys and gals that have testosterone and emotions running through their body, attractions for other people running through their body, and the freedom to pursue those emotions and attractions that they perhaps did not have at the high school level. Not welcoming outsiders from Charlottesville to grounds. I like that message. But how do we enforce that? How do we maintain that Susie or Johnny does not welcome Chris or Louise from Harrisonburg or Roanoke or Lynchburg to an off-grounds apartment or even an on-grounds dorm? How do we enforce no outside visitors? I love the concept of wearing a mask all the time. I'm going to highlight a gentleman who watches this show often. His name is Ray Cadell. His daughter goes to the University of Mary Washington. She's a senior there. And from day one, the University of Mary Washington required masks on students on and off campus at the University of Mary Washington. If you were walking outside, you had to have a mask on. If you were walking to your car in the parking lot, you had to have a mask on. If you were off campus, you were expected to have a mask on. As a result, Mary Washington has had, and Ray, help me, remind me here, has had next to no COVID cases. So mask worn at all times, I love that. Gatherings limited to 5 people or fewer, difficult to enforce. Avoid traveling outside of grounds or avoid welcoming visitors to grounds. Difficult to enforce. The University of Virginia is doing whatever it humanly can to keep in-person classes going, and it's paramount for its business model. Higher education is about for-profit, keeping the business in the black, and making as much money as possible. If you don't believe that, you're not in touch with reality. Okay, it's about making money is what this school cares about. Okay, so these approaches and these strategies are 100% rolled out to maintaining the in-person model where their profit margin is the greatest. Judah Wickhauer, let's go to the next headline, my friend. This headline comes from Charlottesville City Hall. I hold City Hall accountable frequently on this show. Charlottesville City Hall is extending its COVID restrictions, I guess you could say, which pretty much limits restaurants to 50% indoor occupancy, restricts certain public and private in-person gatherings to a maximum of 50 people. It's continuing this for as long as the declaration of a local emergency is in effect. So frankly speaking, the City Hall did not say this is when the ordinances are going to be over. So I'm torn on this because I understand as a father and as a husband, and as someone that wants to see the community come out of this, we have to restrict gatherings, and we have to manage this virus until we get a vaccine and we can get over the hump. I'm also torn on this because these restrictions, in-person restaurants, inside 50% or less, gatherings max of 50 people, are dramatically impacting people's businesses and livelihoods. And as long as these restrictions are in play, Consumer confidence will continue to be flat. And as long as these restrictions are in play, my friends, your friends, our neighbors, our families, and their businesses will shutter, will close. Restaurants cannot successfully operate at 50% indoor capacity. So it is a bittersweet restriction. It is a bittersweet restriction. It is sweet in that it's going to help us get over the hump, we hope, until we can get to potentially a Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It is bitter because we will see more businesses shutter because of this. Give the show a like and a share if you like this content. If you like the content, hit the like button now, please. Better yet, share it to your friends. It would mean the world to us if you did that, guys. Please. Restaurant news. Scott Aaronworth, if you're watching, the Esquire from Virginia Beach, who routinely watches this show. I have a lot of respect for Scott Aaronworth. He said, Jerry, I love when you cover food on this program. This is for you, my friend. Ivy Provisions, Shadwell's Restaurant, and Fry Spring Station reopening soon. If you can get that Facebook post up on screen for us, Judah Wickower, it's on screen now. Look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen. Augusta Kitchen is also part of this restaurant group. You got PK in this restaurant group, a little Ben Thompson in this restaurant group, little Tommy Lastly in this restaurant group. Fry Spring Station, many of us were scratching our heads. The pizza parlor on Jefferson Park Avenue. We were wondering, why is this restaurant not open for takeout? Pizza and takeout are the perfect combination for a COVID-19 landscape. However, it's their choice whether or not to open or not. I now live in the Keswick area on the east side of Albemarle County, and to have another restaurant like Shadwell's open, that's good news for my family. It's good news for our friends on the east side of Albemarle. One thing the east side of Albemarle County, the Keswick area, is lacking is a robust offering from a restaurant standpoint. I'd love to see more restaurant offerings on that side of town. Shadwell's opening soon. Ivy Provisions, some of the best sandwiches in the game, right there as you head into Ivy. Okay, Ivy Provisions is great. They also have Augusta Kitchen in Augusta County. I love to see this restaurant group heading to reopening their brands, opening up for jobs and for people to make some money, and for people like us and my family and people like you to support and patronize them as they try to maintain a business that stays open, right? Fry Springs has a phenomenal outside. A phenomenal outside. There is no coincidence, boys and girls, that Fry Springs, which is probably what? A 7-iron, maybe an 8-iron from Scott Stadium. I mean, it's within walking distance of Scott Stadium easily. I could probably hit my 7-iron $160, maybe 150 yards. You know, maybe it's a 5-iron from Scott Stadium, Fry Spring Station. There's no coincidence that Fry Spring Station makes the announcement today with a home football game where the University of Virginia is what? A 5-point favorite on Saturday, 4 p.m., ACC Network. No coincidence at all, guys. Next headline comes from the governor's office. If you can get that on screen. And Aaron, we'll go to you soon here, sir. And Judah, did you cut the businesses that, the colleges that are going to be impacted by this? You have that graphic for us as well? Okay, you're a good man, Judah Woodcower. All right, let's get it on screen. So look at the screen, guys. Governor Northam is doing a refinancing plan that's going to save Virginia colleges and universities $300 million. The governor announced a new higher education plan Tuesday that's going to save schools about $300 million over the next 2 years. The program is tied to the refinancing of bonds issued by the Treasury Board of Virginia and the Virginia College Building Authority. Show the graphic of the colleges that are in their state. Look at the screen, guys. So this refinancing plan is going to help these colleges save this money, okay? George Mason University saving $58.3 million through this plan. Look at the screen. Keep it up on screen, please. William & Mary, $33.7 million. Those are the big winners. James Madison, $43.7 million, a huge winner. Right? You got Old Dominion University, $29.8 million in savings. Virginia Commonwealth, $23.1 million in savings. You got Longwood, $8.2 million. Norfolk State, $8.2 million. Radford, $5.1 million. University of Mary Washington, $9.3 million. VCU, I said, $9.7. Virginia Military Institute, $2.8. Virginia Tech, $40 million in savings. University of Virginia, the low guy in the totem pole with William & Mary, with Richard Band College of William & Mary. UVA, $344,000 only in savings right there. So I like it. I like that the governor's trying to be creative. I respect it. Let's see what happens. One more from college, and then we're going to get to you, Aaron. Let's say JMU in-person classes start. Judah, get it on screen. Tell me when that's on screen. October 5th. October 5th for classes at JMU. Remember, on September 7th, Madison University went all online with its classes. Look, we'll cut to the chase. If Virginia Tech and the University of Virginia are staying open for in-person classes, and its competitor right down the road, JMU, went virtual for all classes on the 7th of September, I can assure you that they were feeling heat. The Board of Visitors, the leadership at JMU, the parents offering this heat to the college, maybe the students, maybe just for the survival of their business model. I can assure you JMU was feeling pressure from Virginia Tech and UVA to open back up again. Now we know Madison University plans to return to in-person classes on October 5th. We will follow that closely, guys. Let's let everyone know how they can get the best internet possible, and it's Ting Fiber Internet. Runs this show. The best internet possible at the best price possible, only through this link that we put on screen, ilovecville.ting.com. We formed a partnership with Ting. This internet is amazing. ilovecville.ting.com. You'll save $288. I'm going to reach out to Aaron now, Judah Wickhauer. In fact, it's ringing. Aaron Ludwig is co-founder of Jack Brown's and Billy Jack's. We have him on the line. I'm very excited to chat with this guy. Aaron, if we can get you, my friend, to turn that. Okay, we got it. Fantastic. He's got his camera on. He's looking sharp. He's got the fabulous aesthetic that I love so much, that is Jack Brown's. I'm a notcher at the Jack Brown's on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. This man is a leader. He's a visionary. Like a lot of CEOs and number ones, he's maybe in a crisis management standpoint right now. Before we go down that road, Aaron, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, please?
Yeah, hey Jerry, nice to see you, man. And yeah, my name's Aaron Ludwig. I am the owner and founder of Jack Brown's Beer and Burger Joint, and another concept called Billy Jack's Wing and Draft Shack.
So you guys have, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 14 JBs and is it 3 or 4 Billy Jacks?
Yeah, it was 4. We're down to 3 Billy Jacks and 14 Jack Browns, all kind of in the southeast United States. So Tennessee, Birmingham, North Carolina, Virginia.
You have an incredible brand. I love the approachable nature. I love the fact that I go into your Charlottesville location, people know your name, they slide the beer in front of you that you like. I love the fact that I have the Notcher program. I love the engagement that you offer customers. I mean, it's like Cheers, but better. I love the business model and that your footprint is a small footprint, which keeps your overhead down. As a businessman, I noticed that you don't have the lettuce and tomato that can go bad. I noticed that you have the paper plates that can be thrown away. This offers you the need potentially to have less personnel in the back and also minimizes food costs for you. I love the rotating beers that you have and the partnerships you form with the breweries. They become evangelists for your brand and your company. You are kicking ASS and doing it the right way. So I want to get out of your way, and I want to ask you about the evolution of the company first before we talk COVID. Give us the evolution of Jack Brown's.
Yeah. Well, man, you nailed a lot of the things that out when we first started. A lot of that was always trying to continue to learn and adapt and just how to be lean. I was in a business before this that grew. I was owner of a ski shop here in Harrisonburg, and we grew quickly, and we had a lot of retail square footage, thinking more square footage would mean more sales, which was not the case. So some of these decisions through Jack Brown's growth and design were made by some mistakes previously. So there was but you hit on a lot of those fun things. And when we started Jack Brown's, that whole aesthetic and the vibe was something me and my partner, Mike Saban, who co-owner and 50-50 partner in this whole endeavor, we just wanted to design a bar we wanted to hang out in. We loved dive bars. We loved going to New York City. And when we go into cities, we just say, what is the crappiest bar in town? And then we go there. We love kind of the vibe those things have, the characters, the customers that hang out there. It's a unique piece of Americana that a lot of restaurants and bars don't really kind of meet anymore. And so we always say we wanted to be a dive bar and not a dump. You know, our places are immaculately clean. We have a crew that takes it serious, but we want that vibe to make it look like it's been there for 50 years, just like of America's best dive bar. So, but when we started, we would have a growing amount of locations. I literally thought I was going to be owning a bar with my best friend, and I was going to just bartend and talk to some customers, and I was totally happy with that. That's why I left the ski shop, was just to open up a bar that focused on craft beer. And my partner was a chef down in Miami, so he knew his way around the food world. And I was completely happy doing that. And it was just kind of a really a unique experience of what we had going on. And then teaming up with some people we met that have been big supporters of the brand, and they wanted to kind of team up and help us out, which is what we've done. So we've partnered with those guys that have we're partners in a group that's done the expansion piece. So it's been a wonderful ride just to be able to spread the love of Jack Brown's to the rest of our 447 employees that we have, and wow, to see this work in other communities and other states blows my mind. And that's why I still love coming to work in Harrisonburg. I still come to the original location here in Harrisonburg, and that's where I'm at right now. And this is where I still report every day, and love every minute of it, man.
Man, 447 employees. Like, that is such a baller. That is pressure on your shoulders, no doubt. Mouths that count on you to pay their bills, their rents, their mortgages. All right, so I'm going to throw this to you and get out of your way. The whole, the business model is predicated on keeping, like a lot of successful businesses, right? Keeping overheads down. Mm-hmm. And how you've done that well is you've picked, from what I've seen, maybe slightly off the beaten path locations that have small square footage that help keep, say, rent at a manageable number, which allows margin to get a little fatter than, say, a restaurant that's in Class A that has 10,000 square feet, whatever it may be. That being said, in a COVID time, the smaller restaurant makes it tough. Let me throw to you how you guys are managing everything from start to finish. We're a platform of hope, and I'll tell you, Aaron, in March, everybody was so freaking scared, man. Even with me and my businesses, I was like, how am I going to pay my guys? How am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to feed my kid, keep my wife? I mean, I was terrified, okay? Can you give us the flip book of emotions that you were feeling as a number one with your company?
Yeah, man, it's a deep question. It's of course, we always have emergency backup plans, and we have things in place. If we lose somebody, there's always somebody else we know that can fill these positions, and we have all these things of like, an emergency backup plan. But I don't think we were ever really prepared for something quite of this magnitude. And when news first hit, I started seeing bars and restaurants shutting down in Italy and early on, and I was like, I started wrapping my head around, okay, what's going to happen if this goes down? And I always knew we would be pretty slim, and we can operate with one cook and one bartender if we have to. And, our small spaces were designed a lot more out of intimacy and cool vibe, more than, the rent is a low rent is a good byproduct of that, but most of it was designed just how to create that cool atmosphere. But yeah, news hit hard. I sent an email to the entire team of just like, guys, this is going to be a bumpy ride. I'm sorry, we're all going to have to go through this together. I tried to offer words of encouragement that we are going to survive this, that we use an analogy around work about, it's this whole pirate ship mentality of, everyone in the joint has a role to play. Same way you do on a boat. You got to make sure that you're going to arrive to your destination. Everyone plays a role. Everyone's important. So being able to just kind of use that analogy again, and the seas are going to be very rough, but we all need to be able to step up and make sure, we had bartenders doing deliveries there early on. I mean, we had limited hours. We had, people that are used to making decent money in tips now making hourly wage. Like it was quite the challenge, but we lost very few people. Tell the truth, I don't even know if we lost anybody through this whole crisis. And it was amazing just to see how the team did pony up and support one another and do what we felt was right. And to see our managers, how independent they are and concerned about their own local communities is totally rewarding to us, where, we trust them and we know that they're doing the right thing, not only for our company, but also for themselves, their team, and their communities. And that's what really shined through for us. Sales are down, obviously, but we're going to hang in there. We've been able to limit our cost. We've got a brilliant, smart team, and we're already coming up with some wild ideas for winter. So it's for us, it's just a very big ocean that's rough as shit, and we're just trying to get through it. And the team has been amazing through all of this.
We're going to spotlight one of his team members in Rick White here in a couple of minutes. We're going to spend about 8 or 10 more minutes here with Aaron. Rick embodies these qualities that Aaron is talking about. I saw him delivering Jack Brown's. In fact, this gentleman bleeds the brand. Jack Brown's in Charlottesville gives so much to this community. I've seen it firsthand while sitting in a dunk tank for the Ishan Gala Foundation outside Jack Brown's on the Charlottesville downtown mall. I mean, Jack Brown's at Charlottesville is woven itself into the fabric of this community by, living the golden rule and giving more than they take. And I think he certainly embodies that as a number one at his company. All right, so it seems to me, as a business guy, we have a couple of stages here. The next stage is winter is coming, as they say in what is that, whatever that show is on HBO. I'm drawing a blank here. Winter is coming. Game of Thrones. Thank you, Judah. Winter is coming, and then that's a stage. We have Johnson & Johnson in phase 3 of a vaccine now, and Fauci is like, this is incredible that they've been able to go this fast, Aaron. We don't know how ubiquitous the vaccine is going to be because, let's be honest, some folks don't even take the flu vaccine, right? So how are we going to know that they're going to take a rushed vaccine for COVID? Only time will tell. But I see it as get through winter, get through the election, get to spring in the warmer months and potentially a vaccine, and then maybe after that, maybe smoother sailings for your pirate analogy here. How do you look at it?
Yeah. Day to day. Of course, I have long-term plans. I mean, I'm already, in my Harrisonburg location here, we've been able to expand into our adjacent parking lot. It's a private land parking lot. So we now have 7 tables that I'm leasing, and our customers are sitting amongst plants that we brought out, and they're sitting right next to a parking meter. And it's, to use the overused term of pivot that just seems to has really just been totally, utilized this whole time. But it's, I'm hopeful for the vaccine. But like you said, I mean, we have flu vaccines and people still get the flu. It's just like, I think there's just going to have to be just ways of like adapting. How can we just operate as slim as possible? What is this going to do to our carry-out delivery model long term? The winter is going to be challenging. We lose all of our outdoor seating. So it's like we're looking into plastic igloos and greenhouses that we can decorate in the Jack Brown's aesthetic and have heaters blown in these things and offer blankets to everybody and still try to keep what has made Jack Brown's what it is with our atmosphere and our experience. And that sort of vibe after a bad day at work, and you can come in and relax and have a good time. And if you have to do that with a mask on and sit inside a plastic igloo in January, like, so be it. We're going to make it as awesome and as best as we can. But yeah, it is. And from before COVID, I had kind of like 4 or 5 year plan. That is now kind of a distant back burner goal, and now I am looking at the 1 month, 2 month, and I'm not looking out much farther than that. I'm looking at just the immediate things that we're able to achieve within our city, within working with our officials and making sure we can do everything we can the right way, following all the rules that we need to be following. COVID, recommendations during all this. All these sort of things are the things that are weighing on my mind right now. If the vaccine comes out, hallelujah, that'd be great. But, I'm worrying about how to operate in these crazy times.
You got folks watching in Nashville right now. You got folks watching in Richmond right now. You got folks in North Carolina, in West Virginia, in Mississippi, in Georgia watching now. Harrisonburg and Central Virginia watching right now. I think this is a lot of your team watching the show as we speak here. All right, I'm being told here by our producer, 23 restaurant owners watching the show now. Why don't you speak, if you could, offer some perspective to your colleagues in the business. Aaron, you know this as well. You know this better than I do. Restaurants, tourism, wedding and events, and hospitality. Hammered by this thing here, especially the mom and pops here. What perspective you can offer all these restaurant owners watching?
Well, I think entrepreneurs have gotten to where they're at because of their drive and their persistence and not willing to settle, pushing the limits. I've reached out to my city officials here on the most off-the-wall, crazy ideas, and they're willing to work with us at this point. So let's not sit back and wait for the next level of PPP or what sort of bailout we might get. We need to figure out ways where we can flex things a little bit, try a little harder, press up against the boundaries that have been set for us, while still keeping our community safe and keeping our staff safe. It's at a time that we're going to look back on this, and 2020 is going to be a gigantic skid mark on all of our books. Screw it, that's how it's going to be. But I think the communities we work with, the banks we work with, there's more options out there, I think, than we realize. It's so easy to think about the negative and the negatives of all this, but we need to be able to think bigger, think broader, think about our teams, think about our communities. Like, that's what it's going to come down to. We started doing this fun thing, this JB's Together Tuesday, where every one of our joints is going out and buying food from our neighbors, our partner restaurants, the people suffering through all this stuff together. We're all in this together, and how can we support one another, and come together through this. But I encourage, for anyone that is looking for that, it's just like, I've had a lot of success working with my ABC agent and our city officials. Like, they're willing to help. They don't want to see us go away either. So they make money off of us, and they're willing to bend the rules a little bit for us.
I'm going to do this. You have so much positive praise coming in from all over the Mid-Atlantic right now. I'm going to take a moment and relay some of this positive commentary to you, Aaron. Christelle says, You're
going to make me cry. Don't do that.
You know what? I cry on this show all the damn time. I literally do. I really do. It's been such a freaking vulnerable roller coaster for all of us, especially as like the number one that has all these people counting on us, right? And like every decision we make like impacts that. It's just so precious. Christelle says, I absolutely love Jack Brown's, and those fried Oreos are everything to me. Kitty Taylor said, I've said it countless times, Jack Brown's is my absolute happy place. Matt Long says, I love Jack Brown's. I love the Greg Brady. I will be there to support you no matter what. Stephanie Rhodes says, Jack Brown's is across our family beach house. We absolutely love it right there. Chris Coppinger says, Jack Brown's is the bar we go to unwind with coworkers. I love Jack Brown's. We have Chris and Crozet watching. We take my kids to Jack Brown's because we feel safe and Dad can get a beer. Laura Smith is watching outside Roanoke. Jack Brown's is my favorite bar to go to. I always feel at home. Brian Nowak is watching outside Atlanta. Anytime I see a Jack Brown's, I go to Jack Brown's. I go out of my way to find a Jack Brown's. Aaron, what does this mean to you, man? I could continue going on and on for the entire show about you, dude.
No, I mean, it's like, and it's not, it's amazing to see this little concept that me and my buddy just designed a bar that we wanted to hang out in. That's all it started as. And to try to relay that same vibe and experience to get our team on, drinking the Kool-Aid, and to see my management team build the teams in places like Huntsville, Alabama, that I walk in there and it still feels like home, and it still feels like the bar we designed. And, we say our employees are our number one asset. A happy customer is a byproduct of a happy employee. So we spend every day trying to figure out how we can make our staff happy. And I feel like it's a win for us when our customers are happy, that I think my staff is happy. And that's important.
I appreciate your vulnerability here. Luke, I met my wife at Jack Brown's. We go to Jack Brown's for our anniversary.
Yeah, I love those stories.
We're both notchers.
Yeah, I love those stories.
We've thought about naming our kids when we have them after Jack Brown's.
Hell yeah. Just don't name him Greg Brady.
All right, get us out of here on this note. And then we're gonna get your boy Rick White on the line.
He's one of my faves. He's one of our biggest ambassadors. Rick is amazing. But yeah, go ahead.
Rick is amazing. I will go to the bar, and this is obviously, I go to the bar now in COVID. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I will see Rick not even at work wearing the Jack Brown's notcher shirt. And he's not even at work.
Yep.
I mean, he just loves your brand so much.
Yeah.
All right, we are a platform of hope. We are also realists and cautious optimists. Final word for you, Aaron. You've crushed this interview. Anything you want to talk about, show is yours.
Oh, well, appreciate that. No, I mean, I admire Charlottesville so much. It was always like one of those bucket list cities for us. It was the place that my wife got her doctorate, PhD, and I always admired Charlottesville. So to be on this show, I was like, oh wow, cool. This is great, and I love what you guys are doing there, and you guys have so many restaurants there. I hope that everybody they're finding their way through this. And a major kudos to all my staff in Charlottesville and to all of our locations. For any of those guys watching, it's just like, they know what we've been going through, and they've been doing the smile on their face and still doing all their silliness on our social media posts, which I love and see every day. And we have to cancel our Jackalope this year, which is the big employee festival that we throw every year. We close all the locations and we throw a party for 3 days for them in Asheville. So sorry to all of them for having to cancel that this year, but shirts are in the mail. I just designed new ones, and we're going to mail those out to all of you. No, I think it's. I just hope everyone can stay safe, and hope everyone can, still just keep up the fight and keep pressing, and we'll all get through this stuff. There's other generations have been through a lot worse than this, so I think we'll get through this just fine.
Dude, you crushed it. Thank you for your time.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support, man.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. You have a good one. Great
right.
people right there. Loved the vulnerability he showed there. Judah, I'm going to reach out to Rick White. Proud to call Rick White a friend. Rick White's passion for Jack Brown's downtown is contagious. We took the macro perspective for a business that employs over 450 people. And Rick, there we go. We got the camera on. That way we can see you. Awesome, Rick. You're outside Jack Brown's now. So we took the macro perspective with the boss. And now we're going to go micro with Rick, who is an ambassador and a champion of epic proportions at Jack Brown's downtown. My friend, how about an introduction to you first, Rick? What are you all about, Rick White? And then we'll talk shop.
Hey, I'm Rick White. I'm the notcher boss here at Jack Brown Charlottesville. Great to be on.
It's great to have you. I've been so impressed with how you and the team in Charlottesville have gone and thought outside the box. Through partnerships or just going out of the way and saying, we're going to go to this restaurant and buy their food. Or through you doing delivery. Or through you creating a Bodo's burger at Jack Brown's, you and the team. I mean, you guys are innovating and innovating and innovating. How about some perspective on the joint in Charlottesville? Anywhere you want to go on the joint in Charlottesville, how's it holding up, Rick?
We're getting by, as best as we can. Obviously, things are really hard all with everything going on. But we try to, take it on the chin and do it with a smile. Our notchers have been a huge part of all of this. They've really been the glue that's kept us going, held us together.
You guys have what I call one of my 2 or 3 favorite places to go when I'm just trying to unwind. I think another one I enjoy going to as well. Let's talk about the Charlottesville location. Not a ton of outside seating, but you guys are making the best of this outside seating. Give us some ideas of what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone can see behind me, but we have a couple of tents up here covering our patio. So that way we don't lose them during the rain. I'm sitting down at a third table. So we seat, 5 per. So, that gives us a good amount of outside seating that way we don't lose some of our clientele.
You also have the luxury of having the doors open so folks that sit inside can maybe get some, a feeling of confidence, because I think consumer confidence is paramount right now. When you have the doors open, you have the breeze and the natural air coming in, easy to sit in, guys, and do it safely here. Give us some insight into some of the innovation you guys have done at the Joint in Charlottesville, some of the partnerships you've done and the events you've done.
Yeah, doing small one-off events has been monumental for us right now. About a month ago, we teamed up with Devil's Backbone. We had Devil Backbone buckets for sale, and everyone ate that up. I think it only lasted a couple of days. We've relied heavily on Zoom meetings. We've been doing our trivia every Monday. That's been a big thing. Greg, our front of house manager here, has been doing. He's been killing it, having the notchers do trivia every Monday. And then we've done different team ups with a couple restaurants around here. Vitae, right around the corner from us, just opened up their second location. We've teamed up with them. You can get Jack Brown's burgers down there. We'll deliver it right to you. So if you want to enjoy a nice mixed drink down there to them, you can still have a Jack Brown's burger.
That's awesome,
right
Rick.
Down there.
That's awesome. Vitae Spirits, guys, their new tap room on Water Street, right around the corner from Jack Brown's. I can't think of something better than a cocktail from Vitae and then a Greg Brady to help get that base so you can have a few more cocktails after you've had the first one. The Notcher program, which you are just an amazing leader. You are tremendous at keeping engagement with the notcher. And I'll give them some perspective of what a notcher is. So Jack Brown's, and correct me if I'm wrong, has various levels of notching. The first level is 100 beers, individual beers, that you keep track on a card that they provide for you. I'm a notcher at Jack Brown's myself. As you climb, I believe, to 1,000 beers on 10 different cards, you become a saint. One of our buddies, a common friend, Curtis Dirty Shaver, is a saint at Jack Brown's downtown, and his Saint Day was off the chain. Okay, I can't wait for Dirty's Saint Day again. Can you put in perspective, my friend, the Notcher program and how it's not just customers, but it's become family?
It's 100% family. It helps, it helps build a community within our regulars and the people that continue to come back to Jack Brown's. It's everything for us. I've met some of my best friends here in Charlottesville. Like you said, Curtis, one of our very good mutual friends. Love him to death, and it's not uncommon to hear people meeting at Jack Brown's and they start dating. I've got a couple of my customers, Kitty and Zach, just got engaged right here on our patio. It was amazing. It's great to see, something build such a strong community here in Charlottesville and, every location that we have. I know a lot of the notchers throughout many of the locations. It's really, it's breathtaking. It's awesome. It really is. It's a giant family.
I love it. I love it. Let me see. You're a handsome dude here. Let's see more of your face with that camera here. I want to see more of that face there, Rick. All right, there we go. You got a little emotional there. little vulnerable there. What was going through your mind? Why those feelings?
It's when I started coming here 5.5 years ago, right when it was opening up, I never thought that this would turn into something as extraordinary as it was for myself. It was it's really become everything for a lot of us here.
Well, you do a hell of a job as the ambassador. How about a message of hope, if you could, Rick, to everybody who's watching? I mean, we're in scary times, dude, as you know. I mean, everybody's scared. And I think why we're so scared is because we don't know when this thing is over. It would be so much easier to manage if we say we just have to get to this date, and then we're on the other side of this, but we don't know that. I mean, let's talk about First, let's talk about the vulnerability you were feeling in March and April. I mean, your livelihood is tied to an industry that got hit hard by a thing we've never seen before.
Yeah, it still is scary, but it was very scary then, not knowing how this was, how anything was going to play out, what we were going to do. We were literally going day to day. We just hit the ground running with different ideas. Like I said, the Notch Club helped us extraordinary. Everyone ordering food and beers, several, almost daily sometimes. And I think as long as everyone, we all stick together and we all, keep trying to get through it, I think we will. It might take a little while, but I think we're going to be all right.
Amen. I certainly hope so. I'm going to give you a final word here. Anything you want to say at all? You got a heck of a lot of people watching here. I'm being told we have 7 different states watching here, and it's no surprise with a brand like Jack Brown's that we have 7 states watching. Anything you want to say? Any message you want to get out there to anybody?
Really, I just want to thank all our customers, everyone that comes in, has a burger, has beers, everyone that's part of the Notch Club, everyone that supports Jack Brown's. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. We get to do cool things. I get to have, my dream job essentially just because of all these people. It's great. I love them to death. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for that.
Hey, you crushed this, Rick. I'll see you soon. Rick White, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your passion for the brand. Thank you for helping set up these interviews. I'm grateful. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you, Jerry.
You have a good one, dude. Rick White, boys and girls, not your boss at Jack Brown's downtown Charlottesville. Absolutely love this place. More comments coming in. I see them as well, guys. I see them. You said it's 8 states watching the show. That's awesome. Support the businesses that make the community better. And you don't, if you're concerned about, going inside, even eating outside, totally get it. Totally get it. Curbside pickup, takeout to go, right? Curbside pickup, takeout to go. Interact with them on social. Let your friends know what's going on, okay? If we want the places that we love to go to continue to survive, we have to rally now more than ever around them. Thank you to Aaron and Rick on the show for joining us. I'm going to come out of that interview with some hope, Judah, and I'm watching the time. I'm going to go slightly over. I've been telling Judah I'm going to be more mindful of time here. Let's get the Johnson & Johnson news up. Johnson & Johnson, J&J, they have a vaccine that entered phase 3. Phase 3, they're basically they're giving the vaccine to people, and some get it, some don't. Then those people go out in the world. 60, 90 days later, they come back. Johnson & Johnson sees, all right, we gave these people the vaccine. 60,000 people globally, in fact, are in this phase 3 test group. So if you watch this show, you know I'm a God-fearing person. I pray that one of these vaccines, whether it's Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, I pray that one of these vaccines materializes quickly, becomes a reality. And then the next step is how ubiquitous it becomes and whether or not Americans choose to take it. I'm nervous about that because most of us, a lot of us, not most, a lot of us don't even take the flu vaccine. So are we going to take a COVID vaccine? I think and I hope, and hope is a word that sometimes you associate with weakness. In this case, it is not. I hope that with COVID, in comparison to the flu, people realize the varying degrees of magnitude and impact flu versus COVID has. And I hope it becomes incredibly ubiquitous and taken by vast majority of Americans or humans across the planet. Next headline, we've talked about this company constantly on this show, Carvana, a used car company that is using the internet to sell vehicles. We position our own money, as we've said on this program many times, into this company. Yesterday, it surged close to 31%. 31% in one day. This is basically what's happening, and here's where I have to stipulate, according to my attorney, I have no investing licenses. I'm not a licensed investor. I've been trading stocks and equities since I was a kid. My father, who's a CPA and an entrepreneur, used to give my brother and I $100 each. He would tell us to pick 5 different companies, and we would track them each week, and he served as the bank. As the companies did well, we got more money. As the companies did poorly, he took away from that $100. Then got more passionate about it. As I matured, Carvana spiked 30+% yesterday. Not going to spend too much time on this. People are terrified of public transportation. Folks are terrified of riding in Ubers, on buses, on trolleys, in taxis, on subways. Because of this fear or lack of consumer confidence due to COVID, used car sales are spiking. Carvana, much like CarMax, one of the leaders in that space, yesterday, ahead of its earnings report, a 30% spike of that position. I'm going to encourage folks to realize that this fear or lack of consumer confidence is changing or altering social and human behavior. As a result, I am positioning my hard-earned money, someone who works 70 hours a week, just like you guys, some 80-hour weeks, and I'm positioning some of that cash into PayPal and into Visa. I think the fear of having paper and tangible money is a very real one. Coins, cash, and I think you'll see PayPal and Venmo and Visa become even more popular and ubiquitous because transactions can happen virtually and digitally. That's why I think Visa is going to be on a roll. That's why I think PayPal is going to be on our roll. Next headline I want to get to, Judah Wickower, some sports headlines. Virginia Commonwealth University and the University of Virginia, according to a report from ESPN.com, are set to open the season in a bubble in Orlando. VCU and the University of Virginia are set to be a part of a college hoops bubble in Orlando. ESPN is planning to move at least 8 of its men's college basketball tournaments that start the season to the wide world of sports at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Remember, the NBA playoffs are playing in a bubble in Orlando as we speak. ESPN runs 10 non-conference events in November and December from a college basketball standpoint. At least 8 of them are expected to take place in Orlando this year. The Champions Classic, the Charleston Classic, the Myrtle Beach Invitational, the NIT season tip-off, the Wooden Legacy, which UVA is a part of, the Orlando Invitational, the Jimmy V Classic, the Diamond Head Classic. I've said this since June. If we're going to have a college men's basketball season, it's going to be in a bubble format. That June prediction is becoming a reality. If we're going to have a college basketball regular season, I would not be surprised if UVA and a handful of other schools are put in a bubble in Richmond, Virginia. Why Richmond, you ask? Because they have 2 legitimate basketball stadiums. The Siegel Center, VCU, the Robins Center, the University of Richmond. I cannot think of another city in the Commonwealth that has 2 legitimate basketball arenas within its city limits. Richmond has that. I think if we're going to have a regular season, we're going to have to control crisis management, collateral damage management, men's basketball, and this COVID crisis. I thoroughly expect a bubble format throughout college basketball. Next headline, we have college football on the docket. We have college football on the docket. We have college football on the docket this weekend when it comes to the University of Virginia and Virginia Tech. I cannot be more passionate and excited about that. Duke at the University of Virginia, 4 p.m. on the ACC network. The University of Virginia, a 5-point favorite. The over-under is currently 46 points. 5-point favorite, UVA, 4 p.m. on the ACC network. A lot of people don't get the ACC network. I would very much encourage you to sit outside, maybe inside with the mask on, watch the game at your favorite watering hole, and enjoy it with some friends and family in a safe and social distance capacity. We can do this, and we can do it safely. UVA, Duke, 4 p.m., Scott Stadium, ACC Network. Wahoo's a 5-point favorite with the over-under at 46 points. Quickly, NC State and Virginia Tech. The Hokies, the 20th ranked team in the nation. The Wolfpack of NC State and the Hokies of Virginia Tech, 8 p.m. kickoff, ACC Network. Hokies are a 7-point favorite. Over-under is 57 points. 57 points in what could be an entertaining affair, 8 p.m. on ACC Network. And one more item out of the college football notebook. The Wake Forest Notre Dame game has been rescheduled to December 12th. It was supposed to happen this Saturday. COVID outbreak at Notre Dame in South Bend prevented the game from transpiring Saturday. As a result, the ACC has rescheduled this matchup for December 12th. That means there are now 2 college football games on December 12th from a scheduling standpoint. Wake Forest and Notre Dame, and yes, the University of Virginia and the Virginia Tech Hokies in the Commonwealth Clash in Blacksburg. That means it is a very realistic statement that the ACC championship will be December 19th, pushed back to the 19th. All right, if you have comments to put in the feed, put your comments in the comments section now. We will get to your comments in a matter of moments on the I Love CVille show. We encourage anyone that's watching this program to make sure you watch the I Love CVille Daily Digest. All your news in 5 minutes or less at 5 o'clock, 5 days a week on the I Love CVille network, presented by Ting Fiber Internet. Judah, save $288 on Ting Fiber Internet through ilovecville.ting.com. And of course, Judah Wickhauer, before we get to your comments, now is the time to put them in the comment section. Let's give some love to Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Dr. Wagner, changing people's lives through chiropractic care, sports medicine, and physical therapy. Who's got your back? Dr. Wagner's got your back. Neil Williamson giving me the GIF. Is it GIF? It's a GIF. It's GIF. Thank you, Judah. Of Winter is Coming and Game of Thrones. Thank you, Neil Williamson. Anytime you want to come on the show, Neil. Ray Cadell. He talks about the University of Mary Washington. They've managed COVID probably better than any university in the Commonwealth. His daughter's a senior at the University of Mary Washington. He says, as of yesterday, only 10 positive total cases at the University of Mary Washington. They randomly test students throughout the day. Surveillance tests at UMW, 180 tests concluded the week of September 14th. 2 positive tests returned the week of September 14th. That's a 1.11% positive test result rate, the lowest in the Commonwealth, boys and girls, at the University of Mary Washington. Now, they do have advantages over the bigger schools because the student body is small. But what they have done from day one, and my friend Ray Cadell let me know this, is they required students to wear masks anytime they were anywhere. Okay? Outside, put the mask on. In the car, put the mask on. In the school, put the mask on. In the hallway, the classroom, mask on. In the dorms, mask on. Walking off campus, mask on. They've managed COVID extremely well at the University of Mary Washington, which is very impressive. This is a really good comment. I love hearing this, and I really, really appreciate you guys for watching this show. I'm hearing this comment more and more every single day. Steve Monk says, Jerry, I get all my news from you. I appreciate how you cover news that matters to us instead of focusing things on crime and what the police blotter says. Thank you for doing this for all of us, Jerry. I appreciate that comment. We hear that a lot. We are cautious optimists, and we are trying to bring approachable content to you on a device that we carry around. I mean, this is basically like crack, this damn iPhone, right? I'll leave my house and I'll forget my lunch and I won't turn back. But if I leave my house and I forget my iPhone, despite me being late for a meeting, I will turn back and get my iPhone, my smartphone. Now, mine's a little different in that this is how I make my living, but still, I think many of you guys embody that as well. Josh Stevens. Josh, you're a good people. I miss seeing you at the joint. I believe he now works at Custom Ink. Josh, I got to know at the downtown Jack Brown's. Notch 'em if you got 'em. Darcy Joe like that. Wesley Reeves like that. Cole Scott like that. Kitty Taylor like that. Kitty Taylor says, let's hear it from the Saints. The Saints are the people that had hit 1,000 beers at Jack Brown's. I'm far from it. But one of my good friends, Curtis Dirty Shaver, is a Saint over there. And his Saint Day was, from what I remember, and I Ubered home, guys. From what I remember, it was freaking epic. Cole Scott, giving some props to trivia. Miss seeing these people, right? Miss seeing everybody. Kirby, seeing Kirby at the downtown joint with her hoodie on, with her willow tree hoodie on, with her beanie on her head, pounding beers. I still think she has the record, am I right, Jack Brown's downtown, for most beers notched. Kirby does. Love you guys. I love this show. I love connecting with you through this platform. The whole concept is positivity, cautious optimism, an approachable format where you can interact with the show. That's the whole concept that we're trying to do on the I Love CVille network. We'll be back in the saddle tomorrow. We will have the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase tomorrow at 10:15 in the morning, and the I Love CVille show at 12:30. My name is Jerry Miller. I love you guys. Take care. Good job. Good job. Seriously. I threw a lot at you. Nicely done. Very well done. I thought that was one of our best. And it involved a lot of elements with video and 2 interviews. Good work.